RadioStyle. Hope you all are out having a great time, enjoying yourselves immensely, beyond words, beyond ways. Great song. Love. I'm so freaking hooked on Bruno Mars right now. It's blowing my mind. I ended up buying one of his CDs. Old school. I know, right? CD, you can download it. Did you know that? Yeah, I do. I know you can download stuff. I like having the actual media. You ever had to rebuild a computer and you didn't have the disc? It sucks, doesn't it? You can download it, not when your stuff's all broken. So anyway, I like to have a backup copy. And by the way, CD quality, it's not as good as records and everything back in the day, or tape for that matter. But CD quality is pretty darn good, and it's a lot better than most of the digital junk that's out there. It's far better quality. So anyway, and I'm just an old music dork. Why am I wasting your time with this, right? You don't care about this. Anyway, it's Dan RadioStyle. Thanks for joining me. That was Bruno Mars doing Marry You. Very, very cool song. So manifesting situations that affect others. I'm not sure how I'm going to name this yet, but it's something to that effect. So understand that after the effect, I thought about it. I'm like, call it this because this is how the show turned out. Because, man, I just wing these things. I got notes, right? I'm barely going to follow them. They're just thoughts, and I pray to God this is like I'm channeling this, so whatever the case is. I've gotten a couple comments from people. This concept has come up a lot, so I'm going to try to broach it. I don't know. It's kind of a crazy concept, so it's a tough topic. I might upset a couple people. I think for the most part, I'll probably fit right in the middle. And some people are going to be like, oh my God, that's just exactly what I wanted to hear. So it's going to range that way. So if you're one of the people that I'm upsetting right now or will upset, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. So please maybe go back and kind of think about things, because if this is upsetting, I think you're going to fall into the category that I'm most concerned about. I think some of you that are accepting to this will actually learn and still fall into that same category, mind you. And then some of you aren't, all right? So again, as Agnes and I have talked, and for those of you that don't know who Agnes is, Agnes Vivarelli, very, very awesome person, a friend that I do some video YouTubes with. You've probably maybe seen him on my channel. But sometimes we've got to paint with a broad brush because we've got a broad audience. And I frankly am stoked for anybody that finds these messages. Like, that's what they're out there for. So I try to put them in a perspective that are going to work for a larger group of people. Certainly early on in my time with YouTube, when you guys email me, you're noticing I'm emailing back, and that will happen until it just becomes untenable. And so at some point that will happen. I mean, that's just going to happen. So anyway, early on right now, dude, I am yours, okay? So I try very hard. I have a full-time job that I hold down, and I try to put out 4 of these videos a week, which take up some time. And the good news one takes up lots of time. So just understand, I'm doing my best. So anyway, okay, I'm stalling long enough. I guess we're gonna hit this topic. What this really has to do with is when we're trying to manifest a situation that involves another and it requires them to do something specific. I think that's really what the best summary I can give of what at least I'm noticing commonly. So this can work, if you're manifesting a specific someone. This can work if you're trying to manifest a situation with your family. Maybe you and your folks or your siblings or someone you're not getting along real well right now. Maybe you are in that situation. It's a neighbor. This kind of stuff happens where you've got a neighbor that's upsetting you. All of these kind of scenarios where you've got behaviors that are occurring by other people that you would like to see change. Okay? So that's kind of the overall gist of it. Now, I want to break that into 2 factors. Does this concept you've got an issue with, is it you just want to kind of bump into this someone and spend time with them, talk with them, get in some sort of situation where you are able to maybe apologize or maybe have a conversation because you haven't for so long, and you just want to set up that sort of open, I want to bump into them, I want to talk to them, I want them to text me, I want to call, like something that's kind of in line with just get in touch with me. I want to touch base with you. I don't really care how, write me a letter and send it through the post office. Fine, snail mail it. That's cool. Or are you one of the people that are over here where this is the group I'm concerned about? So some of you are going to get mad at me. Some of you are going to see what I'm trying to say as being helpful. So whichever side, I'm sorry. I love you. You're awesome, and I mean that. But if you're on this side of the fence where I need somebody else, and the person that commented to me, by the way, I'm not saying you're in this group. I'm just saying, because I don't fully understand what your whole story is. I just have feelings that there is a little more than you're leading on to, and that's great. And so for those of you out there that are in the group where I need somebody to do something specific. I need them to change a behavior. One person brought up something that falls into this for sure, and it's nothing wrong with you on this, by the way. Nothing wrong with any of you for being in these groups. I'm just trying to suggest and talk to you about this. So if someone's in this category, this is the one I'm going to focus on the most right now, where I need them to change a behavior. I need them to do something differently for me to feel better. Whether it's someone that's involved in dangerous activities, drugs, crime. They do like they're tightrope walkers. I don't know, whatever. Like you're freaked out that they're going to injure themselves. They're going to hurt themselves. They're in a bad relationship. They're going through some scenario in life that is just, oh, I can't believe they're doing this. They have to stop this. How do I make them change their behavior? How can I use the law of attraction or Neville Goddard to change somebody? And I'm going to tell you just the easy answer is you can't. Ever. No. Stop. No, you're not supposed to affect other people. You're not allowed. Frankly, you're not allowed. You can't. But, and there is a silver lining here. So I'm going to get to the you can't first. This is the same thing as manifesting your specific person and like wanting to turn them into a zombie. It doesn't work that way. Everybody has free will, period. Period. But I want to go back. I want to step back a second and remind people. I talked about this in another show I did not long ago, and I'm going to just bring it up again, and I'll probably bring it up a bunch of times. This is really important. When I use Neville Goddard and Law of Attraction, but certainly Neville Goddard to start with for the manifestation process, right? When I use Neville Goddard on an individual. So let's say, I'm going to use the soulmate one just because that's similar, and that's kind of where my little world is right now, right? My little spin on things. When I am doing my imaginal processes, when I am thinking and imagining from the location, in case you've got someone that's doing something horrible, we'll manage from the location. Yeah, we'll use that as an example. We'll imagine from, say, Tony is a drug user right now, let's say. Maybe he's using, I don't know, we'll do something not terribly crazy because, there's crazy stuff out there, of course. But let's say he's a cokehead. He does cocaine all the time, and you really don't want him to, and he can't really afford it, and whatever. You got all these different scenarios in your mind where that's not okay. When you imagine him from the point of not using anymore, he's sober again. He's got money for his family. He's investing in things. You're imagining this whole scenario where Tony's no longer a cokehead. He's living healthily. I don't even know if that's a word. He's living healthy, and he's doing behaviors that are positive and good and you would be happy with, you'd be proud of, whatever, even though that shouldn't matter, frankly, because his happiness should not depend on what you think and vice versa, by the way. If you're dependent on someone else to bring you good feelings, you've got to go back to some of the basics that Agnes and I talk about, or even other books, okay? Because you control that, by the way, not someone else. If someone else is controlling how you feel, you've put your power in someone else's hands. You need to take that back. You need to go back to the basics and then not try to manifest stuff right now. Let's get back to the basics. Let's learn self-love, as Agnes has called it. Let's learn how to appreciate ourselves. Let's learn how to move forward from there. And then once we've kind of got ourselves stabilized and situated in a good place, then we can start to promote other people's positive behaviors. Okay, so that's out of the way. So Tony, what is happening when I'm manifesting this, when I'm imagining him in this light, in this great place? Tony's like, I don't know, maybe about to do a line, right? Maybe he's at home and he's chopping it up right now, right? He's tick, 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 tick. I dated someone one time, well, a phone thing. Anyway, the noise, I'll never forget it. Tick, 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 tick. Anyway, so you're imagining Tony living, and he's tick, tick, ticking away. And while you're imagining what he's feeling is like, so I'm pretending to be him for the moment. Like tick, tick, tick. Like, why is so-and-so thinking about me? Notice how I'm not tick, 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 ticking anymore, right? Like the energy hits him and he starts to feel that idea of love. Or if you're doing it really well, he might start like, I really need to stop doing this. Like, it's like, like this is not helping me. This is not good. This is not positive. I'd like to live a better life. Like that thought popped into his head, right? Whether he acts on it is up to him. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make a horse drink. You can't, ever. You can lead it right up to the water, but if that freaking horse doesn't want to drink, he ain't going to drink, okay? That's one of the things, those of us that are in this group, need to accept. I cannot make a horse drink from water. You cannot make anybody do anything, nor should you, and I'll get to that point too. So all these imaginal exercises put this wonderful energy on this other party, and it gets them feeling what you are hoping they will find. It gets that feeling towards them. You're creating this energy connection between you two, and you're creating an energy of such that is of a healing principle. Like that's what you're manifesting. So that's how it feels. It feels of that way. So you're doing everything you can, period, to affect another person. What they do with it, if they're not ready for it yet. I smoked for 21 years, man. You could have, 10 years ago, you could have been imagining me as a non-smoker and you would have done nothing for me. I would have kept smoking. When I finally quit, I talked about it with Agnes. There was a very significant event, and it wasn't a sickness. It was me imagining something down the road that actually I was like, I don't want to experience that. And I stopped. I got a book. I quit cold turkey, literally stopped smoking. It's been a little over 3 years now. I haven't touched a cigarette, nor will I. Don't want to. I have no desire to. But if someone, I won't even say that because that's bad stuff. But never, right? So that being said, you can't control someone. Put the energy out there. Try your best to help. Now, I want to say one other side on this group, because I'm going to come back to the other side here and do a little analysis there, if you will. But for this group, just understand, let's put it this way, right? So you're the person that would like to change someone's behavior, and you're asking the question, how can I manifest a behavior in somebody else because I'm not happy with how they're behaving, I'm not happy with their choices, whatever. And I get you. There's stuff that's obviously unhealthy. I got it. I get that. Totally. So I'm going to throw it in a slightly different way because drugs aren't the same thing. I get that. I get the argument, but I'm going to make a decent argument to hopefully prove my point, no matter where you fall into this spectrum, all right? Let's say you're married to somebody that is abusive, right? But you've got family that are super religious. Don't divorce. Divorce is bad. No matter what, you must submit to the man. The man can, and that's somehow okay, right? If you had used your choices, you could get away from the person. You've probably got friends that are even trying to manifest that for you right now, right? Get away from this guy. He doesn't truly love you. If you're over here and you're saying, I'm going to take your free will from you, right? This guy's talking, I guess, right? I'm going to take your free will from you because it's a religious thing and you should be with me forever. And then now you don't have that choice, right? So I'm a drug user. I'm a married person to bad person. And someone's telling me how I have to behave. And it's really contrary to where I'm at in my world. Is that okay? No, it's not. It's not okay. Whether they're telling you to leave, whether they're telling you to stay, it doesn't matter. It's your choice. You have to decide that, right? So if you're the person that's saying leave or stay, you have to understand that is not your life. It's not your choice. You can offer suggestions, you can love people, you can provide guidance to the best of your ability, but you cannot make that choice for them. Now, that all being said, with the side of us where we're trying to manifest something where it maybe requires someone to talk to us, someone to call, someone to reach out and text, in the case of a special someone, maybe the relationship change in their current life needs to change, or maybe they need to stop doing something or move closer, or whatever the case is, something that's healable or fixable or whatever the case is, by putting that imaginary energy towards that, you've already kind of got a bond. It's already kind of good. And they're already sort of in the place where just the very act of getting that receiving energy where you suddenly pop into their head and they're like, man, I haven't talked to so-and-so. I haven't talked to Sabrina in forever. I miss her. Man, I love her. She's awesome. I haven't talked to her forever. You know what? I'm going to text her. And that's been your whole thing all along is you wanted to reach out and initiate some sort of contact. That's how that plays out. And that's awesome. And you can totally do that, right? Or if it's the case of trying to manifest a significant other, you keep building that love. You keep sending that energy and connecting with that energy, and that energy begins to grow, and they start thinking about you too, more and more and more, right? So as they're thinking about you, and you're thinking about them, and they're thinking about you, and you're thinking about them, that starts to resonate, and you start to get this crazy cool frequency that gets really powerful. And eventually it gets so profound that whatever needs to happen does. That's how it happens, right? So you can't make anybody do anything. But you can affect them. You can guide them. You can nudge them. You can walk them right up to the water. What they choose to do at that point is okay. And really, one of the best things that we can ever do in the big picture, always, no matter what, is love. I've asked before, the question I always put out there when I'm not sure how to behave, what would love do? And I know some people are like, well, that's not stern enough. You know what? Yeah, it is. It's perfectly stern. Love is beautiful. Love is great. And loving someone and offering guidance in a very awesome kind of healthy way is all you can do. And if you're of the ilk, if you will, of someone that thinks I should be able to mandate behavior, well, you're someone that wants to take away my freedom. You're someone that wants to take away people's freedoms. Even if in your mind it's perceived as in the best cause or the best good or for their own good. It's not your decision to make. And again, going back to the abused woman and the religious-y side, it's not your decision to make. And what if you're on the side of that decision that doesn't resonate with you? What? Is that okay for someone to make you do something? No. Not in the free world, at least quote unquote what we call the free world, even though it's not as free. And don't get me started there. But, you know, a lot of the countries that I know are listening to me are in that realm, right? The part of the world that you're kind of allowed to think what you want and have relationships with who you want and do whatever you want for the most part. As long as it doesn't affect other people, as long as I don't yell out fire in the movie theater, for the most part, I can do what I want inside my closed doors and don't tell anyone. And life's good. I can be crazy. I could run around in women's underwear if I want. Who gives a crud? And not that I do, but if I did, who cares, right? That's just how it is. Crazy stuff's out there. So again, I hope this puts a little help with this. And it's a crazy subject. Again, I know I'm probably, and I'm sorry if I've upset you. I really am. I don't mean to. And I really, really want you to go back and kind of think about, like, why am I mad at this guy? All he's telling me is something that I didn't want to hear. I wanted to hear how I could make so-and-so do something, and this guy's telling me that that's not really cool. And that's what I'm telling you. That's not cool. And I tried to give you reasons to hopefully help you understand why it's not cool. And love someone. Be there for him. And if you, for some reason, need them to behave a certain way in order to feel good yourself, like they somehow affect your feelings, then go back to a lot of the basic beginner stuff. Or shoot me an email, like, what's some beginner stuff I can read and get into? I've got some great ideas, right? It maybe depends kind of where you're at and if you're male or female and all that. But whatever the case is, if really, be honest with yourself. It's totally cool. And there's no wrong place to come from. If you're coming from the bare bones beginning, you just sort of are starting to wake up. That's fine. That's great. That's wonderful. I want you to feel comfortable on my channel. And if you're someone that's advanced and you meditate 42 hours a day, it's not possible, but somehow because you meditate so much, it is possible. My God, you're awesome. Thank you for even listening to my show. And email me too, because I want to get you on and we need to interview. If you can somehow make 40 extra hours, wow, crazy. So again, my point is, I'm here for as many people as I can. I'm trying to offer the best understanding of where I'm at with this as I can. And it is always better to choose love in the end. You can't make people do things. You can love them and love them and love them. And for those of you that are parents and you've seen your kids do stupid stuff, relationships is a great one, right? They've got that boyfriend or girlfriend that you know it's not going to work, but you sit back and you let it happen and you have to, and it kills you. I got that. Kills you a little bit on the inside, right? Same thing. Got someone using drugs. It really is the same thing. Yeah, it's more severe. Yeah, that might cost them their life. You're right. That's their life to do that with. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry, but it is. It is their life. And hopefully they change, because I'll tell you, the power of me quitting smoking, the power of quitting drugs, or the power of overcoming a major obstacle, you carry that power with you. I know I can do anything because I quit smoking. Anything. I know I can do it. All I got to do is decide I'm doing it, and I'm doing it. It's done. There is a huge power, and almost to a degree, it's almost sad for those that have never been addicted to something and then gotten over that addiction to be able to learn the power that comes from that. It is amazing. So understand there's something to be said for that too. So pray for their health, pray for their happiness, pray they figure it out, or send the love or imagining, pray, it's all the same pretty much. Call it what you want, right? Do that. And in a lot of cases, you'll make the difference. I've told you, you will. but just also at the same time, you can just love and just offer support and let them know if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. I am there for you. And sometimes you got to sit back and let people do what they're going to do. I pray I have covered this topic and I don't somehow end up with like whatever, something crazy. I'm not even going to speculate. But we're trying to deal with some of the specifics of manifestation. I think this deals even with specific people, and it's really about looking inward and figuring out where we're at with all this. What is it that really matters to me? Why does this affect me like that? Why do I want this? Is this something that's just cool, like a communication, or am I really, truly trying to affect someone's choices? You need to spend a couple minutes with all that and see what you can do to figure that out. That's all I can say. Dan RadioStyle, please contact me, and this is really starting to come in handy because I'm definitely getting some emails now, but feel free to email me at danradiostyle.com. It actually hits my phone, and whether I'm at work or not, I can probably respond back to you. I might be in the middle of something. It happens like today. I spent 4.5 hours on 2 different phone calls, so, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. But that being said, I did answer some stuff earlier in the day, so, you never know. So danradiostyle@gmail.com. And we're going out with Savage Gardens, which is a very, very funny name, by the way, of a band. Savage Garden, like a garden. It's Savage Garden. Ooh, that's just so juxtaposed, right? But anywho, it's called Two Beds and a Coffee Machine is the name of the song. Really cool song, kind of depressing, but I think the part I grabbed is really kind of beautiful. And so we'll see what you all think. But it is kind of in line with the topic that we've been talking about. Dan RadioStyle.
Darkness, you're gonna make it. Another ditch in the road, keep moving. Another stop sign, you keep moving on. And the years go by so fast. Silent fortress built to last. Wonder how I ever